All right, guys, so today we're going into my quarter two, second half of the year stats. So I thought about doing quarter two separate from quarter one, but it was kind of just easier to wrap it all together and do an update. So these are going to be my stats for the first half of the year. And yeah, let's just get into that. So far this year, I have read 65 books. My goal is 100. I have never read 100 books in a year. That would be really exciting for me, and I am on track to do that. So that's pretty cool. I'm also looking at my iPad because that's where all my notes are for this stat sheets, which I'm going to link down below. I got my stat sheet template from Cass at What Cass Read, so I highly recommend going to check it out. It's a very well put together stat sheet. It estimates actually on the spreadsheet, because this is how cool the spreadsheet is, that if I keep up at this rate, I will read 126 books this year. Who knows if that'll happen? I'm sure the Stormlight books will slow me down because those are each like 3 books. Total pages read is 25,927. And so I guess the average pages per book is around 400. It says 329.876. I'm going to say 400. So yeah, and I'm going to have some cool charts on the screen for you as I go through this. But you can see that each month I've been kind of reading not necessarily more and more books, but you definitely see an increase up to like April, May, and then I've been like kind of steadily at like a 12 to 14 book range, which I really like. So I guess my average books per month is 5, which yeah, I'm okay with. Honestly, I think that's what I used to be at before BookTube, and it feels really comfortable. But similarly, you can look at my pages per month, and there's definitely an increase there, and it's really interesting to see. I don't know if it's because of BookTube or quarantine. I really can't tell, because I feel like BookTube was this other source of motivation. It's like, oh, if I finish this book, I can talk about it on this weekly vlog. So I don't really know. So let's get into the genres of the books. So to no one's surprise, 51% of what I read is fantasy. I have been increasing the amount of sci-fi, so 29% is sci-fi, so that makes me excited. And then there's just a sprinkling in of a bunch of other categories, so that's pretty standard for how I like to read. And I'll also show you the age groups. 83% adult fiction. Yeah, I'm not kidding when I say I talk about adult fantasy and sci-fi on this channel, although I have read some young adult. I read one middle grade, so I do try to vary up my reading with those styles in there, but I do really enjoy adult literature primarily. I was really interested to see there's a part of this stat sheet where you can see what decades or years the books are you reading, and this is definitely because of BookTube. But I have read a lot of books that have come out in 2019 this year. Part of that was BookTube SFF, which is like purposefully you're reading the quote-unquote best books of 2019, but also just, I'm on BookTube hearing about everyone's favorite books of 2019, and a lot of those are more recent releases, so I'm not surprised at that. I would like to read a little bit more backlisted books. I feel like I do read a fair amount of them, but I don't know. Maybe when I decide to make like goals, I'll think about that. Right now, I'm kind of taking this year as more of an approach of just seeing what my reading is like naturally. I am, though, actively trying to think about reading primarily female authors and also trying to make sure I don't read only white authors. That would be great. And I guess to that, let's look at that breakdown. So I have read 59% female, 38% male, and 3% non-binary, so definitely doing great on my female authors. And for my people of color versus white authors, I'm at 31%, which is lower than I would like. I was looking, and when I was talking about this in my last stats video, I was talking about also, including queer authors in that, and I do have 4 white queer authors I've read, but I don't think that would really change the stats too much. It's still a lower percentage that I would like. I would like that to be in the 40s to 50%. That's what my goal would be, but I guess I will put a chart here to show you quarter 1 versus quarter 2. Quarter 1 was abysmal. I think I read like 6 books by people of color. Most of them were probably N.K. Jemisin, so really primarily one author. But I think I've done a much better job in quarter 2, so I will show you that pie chart here. I don't have the numbers right now. I mean, I did write them down, and I was much more pleased. But So I'm actively thinking about that, but I don't have set numerical goals. I just want to see what happens, and then maybe going into 2021, I'll be like, okay, I want to try and read this much backlisted. I want to try and read, these groups of people, that sort of thing. And let's see how my star ratings worked out. So I give half stars. I feel like I have to. I either have to do that or I have to give way more 2 stars than I want to give. Because, it's still a really hard industry to work in, and I just feel really bad about giving 2 or 1 star reviews unless it's actively, 1 star I reserve for this is actively bad for society. This is actively not good. It is demeaning to people, etc. It's harmful knowledge or a story to have in the universe. 2 is, I think, I give to what I would consider a bad book, which I know some people give to an average or below average book. So I don't know. And 3 I give to it's fine, which I feel like 2 is supposed to be it's fine and 3 is supposed to be it's good. But I give 3s to it's fine, and then 3.5 is good, 4 is great, 4.5 is really great, and 5 is amazing. That's how I do it. So here's my distribution there, and my average rating is a 4, which is good. I think you guys saw this in my tier ranking video where I was kind of ranking all the books I read this year. I like that I'm reading primarily great things to me. I think that means I'm picking well for myself. I've been reading a long time, so I guess it's nice that I know myself. And I think I'm even still keeping this while sort of pushing myself outside of my comfort genres once in a while. I say that, and we saw I had 51% fantasy, but I've not been reading the fantasy that I have been reading in the past. Now, this one I thought was cool. Let's see the page length. How long were the books I was been reading? So my average page length is 400 to 499, so basically almost tomes. You are long enough to take up a fair amount of my time, but not long enough to count as a tome. And I thought it was really, really funny that I have nothing between 700 and 799. You are either 800 pages or below 700 pages. That's what this chart's showing me. And I was a little curious about my increase of novellas, what that would do to my books counts, because I've read 65 books. That's a lot of books. And so novellas for me are 200 pages and less, and it looks like I've only read 6 books that meet that. So even removing that, I've read 59 books this year, novel length things. So that's really cool. And this maybe is just more curious for you guys than me. I already knew that this would be insane. But I have read 78% of the books I've read this year have been from the library. I'm not shocked. I primarily read from the library. If I buy books, it's usually after I've read them, because I collect books, if that's not apparent by my absurd pretty copies here. So I used to buy books all the time, and I wouldn't mind doing that again, but I am already dreading moving to my next apartment. I am not excited about packing up all of these books. Yeah, no, not excited. And so, yeah, and those are ones I got for Christmas or I bought for myself, and then used. Those are from usually my mom, because I guess she has them used. Sometimes I buy them used at the bookstore, but like I said, if I'm buying a book, I'm usually collecting it, so if I have to buy it used to get the edition I want, I will, but I don't always. So yeah, those are kind of all the stats I'm keeping track of. Let me scroll down to make sure I'm not missing anything that matters to me. Oh, there's this section that they have called New to Me Author. So I thought that was interesting. So I kind of want to go through it and so this is based off number of books by authors that are new to you. And so obviously some authors are going to have an overlap, right? If it's not new to you but you've read 5 books, that's going to count in the not new to you section. But I guess for books, those are just books, 60% of the books that I've read this year were by authors new to me, and 40% were authors I've read before, which makes sense, especially with the series I've been reading. And if you want more of my series update, I do that every quarter, and I already have my summer series TBR, spring series wrap-up that you can go look at. That's where I talk about the series I'm working on, the series I finished, etc. Those are all those goals. So yeah, I want to keep working on reading more authors who are people of color. That's really, really important to me. And I think I'm on track for that. And I'm much happier with my stats this time around than I was last time. And I know in my last quarter wrap-up I talked about surprises and disappointments, etc. well, there's apparently that mid-year freak out book tag that I already did, so you can also check that out if you want those thoughts. Wanted to keep this a shorter video for you guys. So yeah, what stats do you like to keep track of, if you keep track of stats? How do you even pick your Goodreads goal? I kind of just like pick a number and I see if I'll get there. I don't get really stressed about it. I kind of just want to make sure I'm reading, I guess if I can, a book a week. Honestly, that's what started me down this crazy trail of BookTube. And like if you like it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.